Hello everyone. First of all, I'm extremely sorry for the delay. So I hope you guys are still there in the session. Alright, so let's start with the webinar. Here today I am conducting this webinar for interior design course. So I'll just brief you about what would I be sharing with you all today. And we will also discuss about what design and what interior design specifically is. And we will also I'll also answer a few questions of yours in case if you have any queries, or in case if you have any doubt regarding this field or this particular course, you can please shoot your questions in the chat box and I would love to answer them. Alright, so as you can see the slide, it's about interior design course content and what exactly the interior designing field is about. So let me tell you one thing first, what designing is. Designing is not only associated with interior design, I can say. It can be associated, the term design can be associated with a lot of other verticals as well, with a lot of other fields as well. So designing is something that you create, something that you innovate, something that you brainstorm and get out of your mind, portray it on a paper, and then make it functional, make it look realistic, make it look happening, and make it look you know usable, user friendly. Yeah, so something that you're creating which is completely new to the world, right, and which is also functional, right. So this is a very basic explanation of what design can be, right. Yeah, when coming to interior design specifically, we need to consider certain parameters, and there are few particularity in interior designing field which a designer or a professional would consider to start a design and execute it. Okay, yeah. So before we start about the technical aspects, a general brief that I can give you for interior designing can be, it has several components, it has several parameters. There are a lot of things involved in interior designing, because interior designing is not a separate field, it is already attached to some other field which is nothing but your architecture. Okay, so it is a branch, or it is a part of architecture, you can say, because under that you have one part as interior designing. All right, so for interior designing, we consider several things, like what exactly do you see inside a space is what we consider for interiors. Now what you see exactly inside a space, you have the furniture, you have flooring, you have ceiling, you have artifacts, you have paneling, you have service lines, you have lot of other things as well. So if we will discuss about all of these things which are involved, which are required to consider to start working on a design. Okay, now when a designer start working on a space, the first thing that he or she needs to do is to understand the space. Okay, to understand what exactly is the requirement of the space, because you would be working for a client, yes, but you are also supposed to justify the space that you have, that you're supposed to work on. Okay, so you need to understand that the designer would understand the space first, the dimensions of the space, and what exactly is required over there. Okay, so in case if you're designing a residence, you have a lot of spaces inside a residence, your bedrooms, kitchen, living area, dining area, and you have other spaces, like you might have a lawn, you might have a garden, you might have a pool, you might have a gym. So there are a lot of functionalities involved in one area, in one space. Now according to the function, you would be designing that particular space, right? So you would have to understand what is required. Then the next thing is what is the requirement of the client. That is also important because you are designing someone else's residence, right? So you need to understand the personality of the client. You need to understand who exactly he is and what he likes and what he doesn't like, you know, to make sure that the space that you're designing for that particular client should also reflect his personality. He should be a happy person inside his space, right? So you need to understand the client. So understanding the client requirement, understanding the space requirement, and then making a note of everything, and then finalizing a concept and a style. Now what exactly do we mean by concept? Concept, I can say, that is a very vague idea or an abstract idea that could be the inspiration of your designing. Okay, so if the client suppose is a musician, okay, so you can take the concept as music, right? And it's not that you're taking music as your concept, so everywhere you find elements related to music. It's not mandatory. It's just the concept that you're taking because you want to take inspiration from that, because the client is a musician. Obviously he also would like to see his space which is something related to music, right? So whatever the profession is, whatever the client likes, it all depends on that. So you would come up with a concept, or it could be any general thing also. It's not mandatory that you only go by his profession or like that. You can go with anything. If he's a nature lover, then you can completely go with natural looking material, right? So that could be your concept. So concept is nothing in particular. That's not fixed for everybody. So you have to come up with a concept. You have to decide a certain concept for certain spaces, right? So you decide on a concept, and then considering, because that would be the inspiration for your design. Okay, so you would add the element to you would add some element from your concept to your designing, right? So that is how it works. And then you can choose a style. Now style is something which has something in particularity. Okay, so we have a lot of styles. So whatever style matches the client's requirement, you can take up that style. Whatever basically client likes, the style, the design style can reflect the client's personality as well, right? So if he wants a completely modern style, you can go with modern style. You can go with contemporary. You can go with Victorian style. You can go with um, Egyptian style, or Roman style. It could be anything, right? So you would have to do a detailed study on what all styles do we have, so that you understand the characteristic features of each and every style, and then you could understand what exactly would fit the client requirement, what exactly would match or suit the client requirements, right? Then you can finalize the style, and then again, what are the features of that particular style. You would be doing a detailed study on that, and then pick up a few which you would be applying in your design. Okay, now you may have a concept or you may not have a concept. You may have a style, you may not have a style. It's all okay. It's not mandatory for you to do it according to this, but yes, if you follow the process, it would be um, very easy for you to come up with various elements in your space. Okay, so the concept and the style, if you're able to blend these two properly and come up with a design which is functional, which is creative, and which is aesthetically pleasing, then you can call that particular design as a great design. Okay. Yeah. So now once you are done with finalizing your concept and your style, and then the next step that you would be doing is uh, understanding now the spaces and bits and pieces, the individual spaces of the residence, then understanding what all furniture requirement you have, what is the style, what is the concept, what are the elements that you would be having in that particular space, and then you start considering the elements that you need to have in the space. Then comes all these things like furniture, because 70%, 60 to 70% of the space would be occupied with furniture, right? So that's the major visible element in the space. So you would be designing furniture, you would be designing false ceiling in case if you want to have any false ceiling, or you just want to have a plain ceiling, or you want to have it exposed or whatever, you would be working on that. Based on what? Based on the requirement of the client and the requirement of the space. Now in case if you have a gym in your residence, and you also have bedrooms obviously, so it is not mandatory that in the gym you are supposed to design a false ceiling. Not required, because that's not the space where you exactly need a false ceiling. You are because the function of that particular space is something else. You're not going to focus on the aesthetical aspect much rather than the functional aspect, right? So you can skip the false ceiling, you can have exposed ceiling, you can actually have industrial type of ceiling which is completely exposed, and you can have you can leave the service lines in open and everything. You can do that as well, right? So it is not mandatory that in one particular space also you can have different kind of styles and you can follow anything. It's just that you need to understand the requirement and you need to justify whatever style or whatever concept you're choosing, right? So similarly, even in the washrooms or in the toilets or in the kitchen, in case if you want to have, in case if the style or the concept demands that, then you might have to think about it, okay? But still you will be considering all of these. Even if you're not designing a false ceiling, still you would consider what would be there on the ceiling, then what would be there on the main ceiling, then where you would have the lighting fixtures, where you would have the smoke detector in case if you have any, right? So you would consider the furniture, the false ceiling, and then you have flooring, then you have finishes, as in the walls, the finishing on the wall. So you can go with paints, you can go with wallpaper, you can go with wall paneling, you can go with wall cladding. You have a lot of options, so you need to understand again. So again, for each and every element you would have to go back, start from the first thing, that is your, again you consider your concept, consider your style, consider the requirement, and then start working on the design, okay? So this is the basic process. Now there's another aspect, yeah. So when we were talking about the finishes, it also includes the finishes on each and everything that you have inside a space. So if you're wherever you're sitting, just look around the space and just try to understand what all you have inside the space. Interior designing is all about the space inside a structure, right? So inside a structure we have walls, we can see the walls, we can see the ceiling, we can see the flooring, and on the floor we have furniture kept, and then you also have a lot of other things as well, like you have artifacts, you have fabrics, you have upholstery, you have a lot of showpieces, decorative items, and you have you can have fabrics on the bed, your bed covers, your carpets, rugs, curtains, everything. So everything is involved and should be considered when you work on a inside space, when you're actually designing the interiors of a space, okay? Yeah. So but broadly we can classify this as the furniture, the false ceiling, and then the flooring. You have then finishes on each and everything. Like if you're designing the furniture, the core material can be plywood, it can be MDF, it can be particle board, or it could be hardwood as well. But is that what you are exposing? Is that what you're showing it? No, right? Okay, fine. In case if you're taking hardwood, you might just do the polishing, and then you can have it completely raw, right? But if you're going with any other industrial wood like ply, or MDF or particle board or fiber board, whatever, you would have to have a final finish on that. So now again you have a lot of options. So what exactly you want to show, what exactly should be the output according to your concept and style and the requirement? Can you go with laminate, or you need to go with veneer, or you can just paint it, you can go with Juco paints and everything. And again, in case if you're selecting a laminate, then what should be the texture, what should be the color, is it a matte finish laminate or is it a glossy laminate? So all these details are important, because that is where you would be showing your input, your creativity, because in the end what exactly will be seen? Just the output. On the outer side, on the outside, on the outer space, everything whatever is visible, that is the only thing which is seen by the client, right? The client will not exactly get into the furniture and check what ply is being used. Is it a green lamb, or is it any other brand or something like that, right? So the final finish is very important. Okay, yes, you also think about the core material, because that is also important. It also depends, what quality material you are going to use and everything. It depends on the budget as well, right? But the first thing that would be visible is the final output, right? The final finish on each and everything. Your furniture, flooring, even if you have very good flooring, Italian marble flooring, and then if you're placing a rug or a carpet on that, so that also counts over there. Okay, so you would have to check the final finishes, and then the furnishings. In your furnishings you have all your upholstery, your bed covers, carpets, rugs and everything. Yeah, and then the artifacts and everything. So all these would be considered. Okay, yeah. So let me just take you to the presentation. Yeah, so what is interior designing, we have already discussed. So in the slide that you can see over here on the screen, so you can see the first is the client requirement, which we have discussed. Then it's about designing. Then the next step is the negotiation. So you prepare BOQs, you work on estimates, you prepare BOQs, you present it to client, and then once that is completed, once the negotiation part is done, when it is approved by the client, and then you start the execution process, and then the handover. So this is the basic process from the start till the finish of a space. Yeah. Now, what exactly are the categories in interior design? You have various categories, various verticals. You have residential design, you have commercial design. In commercial design, you have office spaces, you have showrooms, you have restaurants. Yeah. Now, let us discuss about the subjects that you would be learning in interior designing course. So, let me just read out the subjects for you. The first one is fundamentals of interiors. Okay, and then you have graphics and interior design. So you can actually sum up these two, and you call it as basic design and drafting. So that is where you actually start how to draft, how to work on a design, right from how to draw a line to what are the other technical aspects, you're learning orthographic projections. Learning orthographic projections are nothing but the 2D drawings. You have plans and elevations, and then you have 3D drawings, you have perspective drawings, you have color theory, you have anthropometry. So anthropometry is the science which deals with the measurements of the human body. So yes, that is also important. So you have all these in your basic designing and drafting subject. And then next you have materials and constructions, where you would be learning what exactly are the materials which are used to execute a design. So obviously when you're working on a design, if you're designing some furniture, you would know that there are a lot of materials which are involved. It's not only the plywood and the other types of the commercial wood or the hardwood which is used. Along with that, you have other things as well. You have adhesives, right? In case if you want to fix a laminate on the plywood sheet, obviously you need one adhesive, right? You have adhesives, you have glass, you have plastics, you have hardware. Yeah, so there are a lot of materials which are required to execute a design completely. So you would be learning about all those materials. And then in the construction technique subject, you would be learning the techniques of how execute it. Okay, so in case if you have two plywood planks and you want to join those two planks and make it a bigger plank, bigger rafter maybe, right? So how exactly are you supposed to join those two small planks, right? So you have a certain joinery detail for that. You are supposed to apply that joinery detail so that it's functioning properly. The functional aspect is considered for that. If you have bricks, suppose, okay, you just can't lay all the bricks on top of the other one and then construct a wall. You can't do that, because that will not sustain. It is not the correct technique or the correct procedure to construct a wall. You need to apply certain technique, and those techniques you would be learning in this particular subject. All right. Then the next subject that you have is design studio and dissertation. So design studio is basically the continuation of basic design and drafting, we can say, because here you actually start working on a spaces, and you will be doing certain projects in this particular subject, where you will be working on residence and office, restaurant and showroom. And then the next subject that you have is dissertation. So dissertation is a research based subject. Basically, you would have to select a design oriented topic and then do a detailed research on that and document it, basically. Yeah. And then next you have professional practice. So as the subject says, it explains you about how you need to practice your profession. There is another part of it where you have estimations and specifications. So it is all about understanding how to prepare an estimate, how to prepare a rough estimate, how to prepare a detailed estimate, how to make a BOQ. BOQ is nothing but bill of quantity. How to prepare a BOQ, and then specifications are also important, because that is what explains your design. So when you give 2D drawings, when you give 3D drawings, or when you give your working drawings, basically, so you would have to specify about your design, about your material and everything, so that the other person, whoever is executing it, needs to understand it properly, right? Along with the drawings, specifications are also important. You need to specify. If you're mentioning that here is the plywood which is used to design the stable, to make the stable, to execute the stable, you're supposed to use plywood material. So you need to also specify that what is the thickness of the ply, what is the quality of the ply that you're going to use. Yeah. Then what is the thickness of the laminate, which laminate exactly are we supposed to use to create that product, to execute that product, right? So specifications is all about that. Yeah. So estimations and specifications also comes under the professional practice subject. The next subject that you have is computer applications and CAD, where you will be learning AutoCAD, obviously, because that's the basic software that we use to draft, right, to prepare your drawings and everything. And you would also learn other few computer applications, the basic applications. Yeah. The next subject is furniture design. In this particular subject you would be learning how to prepare working drawings for furnitures basically. Yeah, so you have a list of furnitures where you would be doing a plan. Suppose you're designing a bed. Okay, so you first start working on a design. How exactly you start working on a design? You follow the design process, right? So you come up with a basic sketch. First you make a one line drawing. You come up with a concept. You take a concept or a style, and then you make a one line drawing. You make sketches of it. Then you think about the material that could be applied, that can be used to execute that design, and then you start developing the design, and then you come up with the final sketch. So that's the basic part. Now once your final design is done, the sketch is finalized, then you actually start working on your working drawings in the software, where you make the plan of the design, plan of the bed, and then you have elevations, you have sectional elevations, you have 3D views, you have joinery details, you have specifications. So this entire set is called as the working drawings. Alright, so with all the detailed measurements, right? So you prepare working drawings for various furnitures. So you design a furniture and you also make the working drawings for that. So that is your furniture designing subject. And then the last one that you have is practical training. Now practical training is again divided into three parts. So the first one is documentation work. So in this course, you obviously, because this is a practical course, you need a lot of practical exposure to it. So every month here we have a lot of activities like guest lectures, workshops, site visits. Yes, in this pandemic situation we are not actually doing the site visits, but we hopefully whenever this gets normal and whenever we can, we will definitely start having site visits again. So and we have competitions, we have other design festivals, we have a lot of activities which are involved, we have other webinars and everything. So although all the activities which are being conducted over here, so that are supposed to be documented basically, all right, because you're learning something out of it. You need to you document the takeaway from that particular activity. So we have a lot of workshops like pottery workshop, we have mural workshops, we have sketching workshops, we have rendering workshops and everything. So you are supposed to document all of these activities. Okay, so that's the first part. And then the second part is participating in our annual event Interior, which is a design exhibition come sale for all the students that we have every year. So hopefully in 2021 we will be having we hopefully we can have the interior again, because in 2020 we couldn't do it because of the pandemic. So in this particular competition, that's a competition basically where you would be designing a product, executing a product by yourself, and then displaying it, and you can also sell your product. Okay, so along with the competition you can also sell your product, and that's a very great platform for all the students that we provide to get that exposure. Yeah, so that is the second part of practical training, where you actually work on a design and execute it, because and that would be a great journey for you to experience. And then third part is working with a professional. You can actually go and work with an interior designer, do an internship of 1 month, and you can also work with an architect, you can work in any other firm, you can work with color consultants, or you can work with any person who specializes in one particular thing. Like if you're interested in kitchens, you can go for that. So basically you would be doing internship for a month. That's completely your choice. If you want to go for it, you can do that. If you actually want to do something on your own, you can actually do that as well. You can completely change the look of your own room or your own house, right? So it's all about what is the input that you are putting. Okay, so what's your contribution to the space and this field? All right, So that is the third thing about the practical training subject. I hope the brief of all the subjects was clear to you all. So let us just go through all the subjects and the major topics that we have in each subject. So for the history, you have ancient world. So the subject history is basically in the first yeah, the fundamentals of interior design. So this has two subjects, history of interior design and technical services. So in history again you have ancient world, the middle ages. In ancient world obviously your Egyptian, Roman, Greek period and everything. Then you have Middle Ages, and then you have Renaissance, you have Industrial Revolution, then modern ages. You also have Indian interiors, and you also study about the designers, you know, because understanding their work is also important. That actually helps you to develop your skill. So here you can see that, you know, it's just a chair, but for all the different eras or the periods, the design is different, right? So this actually could be the inspiration for your designing, right? You always take inspiration from something or the other to come up with your own design, right? So history of interior designing this subject basically acts as the inspiration for your own design. Yeah, and then you have technical services, um, where you have the water supply, the plumbing services, you have electrification, you have telephone and computer networks, you have HVAC, you have elevators and escalators, you have security systems. So these are the topics that you have in technical services. So this slide shows you the plumbing connections and the electrical connections. And then in graphics of interior design, as I've already told you, you have color theory, you have pictorial projections, that is nothing but your orthographic projections and 3D drawings and everything. You have rendering, you have anthropometry, you have elements and principles of design. You have perspective drawings. And then in constructions, you have masonry, you have openings, which is nothing but doors and windows. You have partitions, paneling, false ceilings, staircases, arches and lintels, woodwork. So these are the topics that you have for constructions. Then for materials, you have timber, metal, glass, plastic, thermal and acoustic materials, textile, hardware, surface finishes. So basically these are the waste materials that we have to execute a design. And then in your design studio and dissertation, as I already told you, you have residence, office, showroom, restaurant and dissertation, that is a research based subject on a design oriented topic. So when you work on a design project, when you suppose if you're working on a residence, you would have to do the entire designing part. Along with that, you would also need to you'd also have to make a design presentation where you have mood boards, where you have material boards and everything, which actually explains the concept and style of your design. Yeah, so here you can see the mood board. That's just an example for office designing, like how exactly could be the furniture, what are the materials used. So here you can see that, you know, the various materials and the textures are being shown, and then the workstations, how the workstations can be, how the partitions and the seating spaces, how the lighting fixtures can be used in the design. Now this explains, this is the sectional elevation. Yeah, so that is used to understand the heights, and that is used to understand the different levels in designing in the space. And then this is a plan. And then the next subject that you have professional practice, as I already told you, you have estimations, you have specifications, and you also you will also learn about how exactly you can practice your profession, what are the types of clients that you would meet in the market, and what are the various verticals in interior design, what are the services you need to provide as a designer. Yeah, so this is an estimate for a partition wall, so you would be preparing all of this, and then you have along with the specifications you have the pictures displayed, and these are the specifications of the product that is being used. And then you have AutoCAD. You can also learn the 3D softwares. You can also learn AutoCAD 3D or SketchUp also can be used to make 3D design. Then you have furniture design where you have table, chair, bed, counters, wardrobes, workstations. Yeah, so as I told you, you actually start sketching, you finalize your concept, you finalize your style, and then you start working on a design. You make a lot of sketches, try and develop those sketches, and then come up with a final sketch, and then go for the working drawings. Yeah, so as I've told you, we also have other activities and like workshops, guest lectures, and site visits and everything. So workshops will include model making, mural art, rendering, pottery, sketching, and many more workshops. And then for guest lectures, we have Vastu, we have textiles, we have green interiors because that's in trend now. We have landscaping, we have HVAC, and a lot of other guest lectures as well. Then for the site visits, we go to the construction sites to understand the civil work or the on-site work. Then we also go to the modular furniture factory because you actually you can actually design the furniture according to it, because nowadays you have modular wardrobes, you have modular beds. Earlier just we used to hear modular kitchen, but these days we also have other furniture, other modular furniture as well, like wardrobes, beds, workstations, and everything. And then product store to understand all the materials like ply, laminates, veneers. There are other materials as well. We have a lot of materials, and we get not a lot of new materials in the market every now and then. So to keep yourself updated, to understand the material, you actually need to visit the stores and understand what it is and understand the pricing of it, so you can actually relate to your design, or you can check whether you can apply that in your design or not. And you have sanitary fixtures, you have tiles, you have hardware, you have a lot of um, you know aesthetically appealing materials as well, like you can go with mother of pearl, you can go with highlighters and everything. Yeah, so all those materials you will not understand, or you will not be able to exactly feel it until and unless you visit a store and then get to know about it. So we have a lot of site visits for that as well. Yeah, so this was a gist of what exactly interior designing is, and what exactly the subjects that you have for interior designing at Hamstech. Now let's talk about the scope and opportunities for employment. So you can actually work with architectural firm or renowned builders, or with hospitals, with any designer, or you can start up your own firm. You can go for hotels and health resorts, you can go with design studios and exhibition organizers. You can actually get into an event management company and do set designing and everything. You can work with public and private sector firms. You can work as a design faculty, or the best part would be you can actually start your own firm, get some practice, start your own firm, and then come up with your own design with your own brand. Yeah. Yeah, so this shows that, yeah, you can also do your private practice, your own design firm, own business establishments like showrooms for interior products. You can actually come up with a store for maybe fixtures, or maybe ply, or maybe different artifacts, or maybe your own designs. And then interior services like landscaping, home automation, home theater, modular furnitures, and everything. Yeah, so let's see the various verticals, various fields of interiors: residential, restaurant, office. So this we have already discussed. Apart from that, you also have hotel or resort design, showroom, hospital design, set design, product design, window display, graphic design, and exhibition design. So it's not only about a single space. You can actually explore the mentioned areas as well. Yeah. So the courses offered at Hamstech, you can see the slide. We have BA Honors in Interior Design, which is a 3 years course. Then, and you have 6 semesters for this, where you cover all the subjects of interior designing: materials, construction, history of interior design, technical services, fundamentals of design, then design studio, working drawings, professional practice and management. And then we also have 2 year diploma, which is a SNDT course, okay, SNDT Mumbai, and you have 4 semesters for this particular 2 years diploma course. And then you have certificate course in interior design, which is a 11-month course from JNFU or SBTT or Hamstech. So you have 3 options for this, where this 11-month course is also divided into 2 semesters for JNFU and for Hamstech. But for SBTT certification, that's an yearly course. So once in a year you would be having exam. But for JNFU and Hamstech, you have 2 semesters. So for both the semester, you would be having exams. Yeah. For any further details, you can actually contact the mentioned number and you can get all your queries answered. Now, in case if you have queries, I would love to answer them. So please shoot in the chat box. Hi Karunya, so your question is there anything like we can do on part-time wise? Yes, the diploma course is a part-time course. So you have 2 hours class every day. So I guess you can join that. The BA course is a full-time course, but 2 year diploma course and 11-month certificate course is a part-time course. Hi Lakshmi Priya. Hi, Jagdish. So your question is, you have any crash course? What exactly do we mean by a crash course? You have 11 months course, that's it. Lakshmi Priya says, can we join for months first and upgrade to diploma or 3 years course? I am assuming that your question is, can we join for 11 months course first and then upgrade to diploma or 3 years course? Uh, yeah, you can do that, I guess. Otherwise, you can directly join 2 years diploma or directly join 3 years BA course as well. Nikhil, hi. Your question is, do you have any online course? Yes, right now we are having online courses. You can completely join online. Karanya says, instead of years, Can we do it on a part-time wise? I mean, doing our regular job, want to take this on sideways. Yes, Karunya, I guess, yeah, that is totally possible. You can definitely do that because we have a lot of students who are already in this field, already working somewhere else, or they have their own stores, they are already into the business, they have their plywood stores or sanitary fixture stores. um, you know a lot of people are into other businesses as well, and still they are doing this course, so you can definitely do that. Also, we do have weekend batches as well. So in case if you're working full time, Monday to Friday, you can actually join a weekend course. We have weekend batch on Saturdays and Sundays, so that would be for 4 hours each day. So Saturday 4 hours and Sunday 4 hours. Jagdish, your question is how much you charge for 11 months and 3 years course. So, after COVID, actually, that has been changed, and you can actually give a call on the mentioned number, and you will get all the details. And how exactly you can do the payments and everything, that also you can get the information. So, I request you to give a call on the mentioned number. Mohsin Khan says very helpful and impressive. Thank you so much. You're most welcome. I'm glad that it was helpful to you. Nikhil says thank you, and you're most welcome, Nikhil. Pratyusha is asking which is more preferably 3 years or 2 years diploma. Pratyusha, it depends on your requirement, I can say, because in case if you already have a graduation program, graduation degree, then I can say that you can also go with the 2 years diploma course. But in case if you do not have any graduation degree, you can actually go for the 3 years graduation program. It all depends on you, what exactly is your requirement. Yeah, one more thing I would like to add over here is this is not a field where you would also have to show your marks and everything to get the work. It your work speaks in this field because this is completely a practical field. So your marks to some extent doesn't matter at all. Okay, so your work, your portfolios, all that is important. Surya Kamal says, I'm familiar with analysis and designing softwares. Can I choose interior designing as my career? Of course, you can do that. Gayatri is asking, how much do you charge for 11 months course? Gayatri, I would request you to please contact the number mentioned, and you can get the details of the fee. Any more questions? All right, so I guess we can end the stream right here. All right, so it was nice taking this webinar. I hope it was helpful for you, and I hope you have learned something, and you have you know understood a little bit of interior designing. I'm very glad that a lot of people are mentioning that you really like the session. We have one more person. Pratyusha says, "Thank you so much, ma'am, for good information, and you are cleared all the queries in my mind." I am glad, Pratyusha, and thank you so much that you liked the session. All right, everybody. So I would be ending the session right here. Um, Hope you had a great time. Stay happy and stay healthy.